Hi guys, welcome back to Tuesday of Holy Week, day 3 of our retreat. I know most of you are knee-deep in schoolwork right now, and the last thing you probably want me to do is to talk to you about something like biology. But that is actually exactly what I'm going to do. Now, myself, I am not a scientist. Science was never my best subject. I always had to work really hard at it, and usually that info went like in and out as soon as I was done with it. But I have asked my good friend from college, Dani Seckfort, who has her PhD in biology, to come and give this lesson today actually. So please don't hate me because it is science-based, because I really think this is gonna help. It's gonna help especially when we enter into Holy Thursday, for you to have this knowledge, and maybe it will help you enter in more deeply into the real sacrifice that Jesus was making for us in that. So I really hope you enjoy this first video for our Tuesday of Holy Week during this retreat.
Hi y'all, I'm Dani Seckfort, aka the Catechist Scientist from Houston, Texas. One of the biggest mysteries of the Catholic Church is the Incarnation. This teaching tells us that Jesus was fully human and fully God. This can be a little bit difficult to understand because how can something be completely one thing and completely something else? We're told all the time about Jesus' miracles and how he was God, but the times he showed his humanity are usually downplayed. But that's exactly what I'd like to talk to you about. One of the pivotal events of Holy Week and the Easter Triduum is the Agony in the garden. After the Last Supper, Jesus goes to pray on his own. This is talked about in 3 of the Gospels, but in Luke it's portrayed like this. After withdrawing about a stone's throw from them and kneeling, he prayed, saying, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup away from me. Still, not my will, but yours be done." And to strengthen him, an angel from heaven appeared to him. He was in such agony, and he prayed so fervently that his sweat became like drops of blood falling on the ground. I have a PhD in biology, and so the part that really stands out to me is that he was in such agony and he prayed so fervently that his sweat became like drops of blood falling on the ground. Now, I've done a number of workouts in my 30 years, and I have never had my sweat turn to blood. But it might surprise you to know that this is an actual medical condition. The technical term for this is hematidrosis. Hematidrosis is a condition in which capillary blood vessels that feed the sweat glands rupture, causing the sweat glands to ooze blood. This most often happens because the person is under severe mental anxiety, that your fight or flight response is initiated and kicked into overdrive. If you've ever been scared or stressed, you might have felt your heart race or had your heart beat in your ears. But imagine that times 1,000. When the person is that distressed, the pressure the blood puts on the walls of your arteries increases so much that the walls of your blood vessels break. This is an extremely rare phenomenon. So there's not a lot of science on it, but this extremely high level of stress and fear, often fear of pain or death, seems to be the most frequent cause. What this shows me is that the fully human Jesus Christ was under so much mental anguish and thinking about all the pain and agony that he was about to go through, so much so that he began to sweat blood. And if he were only God or not also fully human, he wouldn't feel that pain. He wouldn't be afraid of how horrible it was going to be. But he was. He had such a high level of stress because he fully knew exactly what was about to go down. He asked God the Father if there was any other possible way, because he knew about the beatings and the crown of thorns and the nails that were going to be hammered into him. He knew about it all. And yet he still said yes. He still chose to go through with it. He still said, "Lord, your will be done." And do you know why he said that? He said it because he not only knew of all the pain that he was about to go through, but he understood the good that was going to come from it. He knew of the horrors of hell, and he knew that his suffering, this horrific suffering, would save all of us from that. It would erase our sins. We would be forgiven, and we could spend eternity with God the Father in heaven instead of an eternity in hell. He understood the gravity of that. He understood the importance of forgiveness. And so he chose to continue on. Even when his very human body and very human emotions were terrified of the pain and the torture that he was about to go through. So much so that he began to sweat blood. He still went through with it for love of you. And it can be painful for us to forgive others too. But we're called to emulate Christ. And his actions show us that it is the right choice to forgive. It is worth it.